Mr. Louis Ng.
So I stand in support of the bill. I would like to applaud the MSF for the thorough and thoughtful consultation process in drafting the bill. MSF consulted over 300 stakeholders in the children and youth services sector and considered over 40 written responses during the public consultation. So I support the move towards a more rehabilitative regime by raising the maximum age of a young person from below 16 years to below 18 years. This is a step in the right direction. I also applaud the extension of childcare leave to foster parents and urge parents to step forward to serve as foster parents. While our VWOs do their best in providing children who come through their doors with the best care possible, there is no substitute for a stable family environment. Foster parents give children the stability, individual care, and personal affection that they need, and I hope more people will step forward to become foster parents. So I'd like to cover two areas in my speech. I will focus on our children's home, which have been designated as place of safety, and our boys and girls' home. Unfortunately, I have some residents who have been placed in a place of safety, some of whom are only in primary school. My resident, Ellie, not her real name, has spent the last 3 years in a place of safety. I visited her there, and I have to be honest that it was heartbreaking seeing her there. When I visited, a little boy was scaling the walls and the barbed wires trying to escape from the place of safety. The VWO was doing their absolute best in very difficult circumstances. I used to take Ellie out, and she was a bubbly little girl, always running around and always with a big heart. I used to take her out with my daughter, and I remember seeing her giving my daughter her black toy car. They say that those with the least give the most, and this is so true. Ellie lived in a rental flat and didn't have much, but she gave a lot. Not just material gifts, but she's someone who is so caring. I remember my daughter coughing once, and almost instinctively Ellie would pat my daughter's back to make her feel better. A few months after Ellie was sent to a place of safety, the Ellie I knew vanished and was replaced with a quiet, reserved girl who barely spoke a word. This was despite all the hard work the social workers and case manager had put in to help her. She changed completely, and I could see why. She was taken away from her house, her siblings, her family, and even her school. Everything she knew of and was used to was removed from her. I know we do this to protect her, to help her, but we need to start questioning whether this works. Again, let me put on record that I commend the VWO for doing a very admirable job for caring for the children with very limited resources. At the same time, I believe we can and we have to do more for children like Ellie and her siblings who just need a nurturing environment to grow and blossom. In the spirit of protecting and rehabilitating our vulnerable children, I have the following questions and recommendations on helping VWOs who run places of safety. So I believe one of the problems of the places of safety is the group setting with too few staff members. We place all the children together, all of whom are angry, sad, lost, frustrated, disappointed, and I don't think it helps when they are placed together with insufficient support. I understand that staff and resource constraints are a perpetual problem that VWOs have to grapple with. I had the same problem too when running my VWO. But in the best interest of our children, we should ensure that our VWOs are adequately staffed and have the resources they need to do their work. Can the Minister share what the current staff-to-children ratio is at the place of safety? What was it in the past? Has it improved over the years? Can the Minister share if MSF has studied the optimum staff-to-children ratio? Are there plans to further reduce the current ratio to ensure that each child has sufficient individualized care and attention? Does MSF have plans to provide more funding to VWOs running a place of safety? Next, Ellie and her two siblings were housed in places of safety. They were sent there on the same day, but were separated as the place of safety Ellie was sent to didn't have a place for her two brothers. While I understand the logistical constraint, it brings about acute stress for a child to be separated from siblings, especially when they have already lost their parents. Children in crisis are at their most vulnerable. They feel fear, confusion, abandonment, worry, and sadness. It is essential that they receive quick support and care in stable conditions that they can feel comfortable in. Keeping Ellie and her siblings together is the least we could do to create stability under such turbulent circumstances. This will help the VWO running our places of safety as well. In determining custody and care and control of the children in divorce cases, the court has stated that siblings should not be separated as far as possible. The court considers this to be a factor in considering the welfare of the children. Will the Minister consider adopting the same policy position that siblings should not be separated where possible when making decisions on where children go when sent to a place of safety? Next, Ellie was also removed from her school as they wanted to send her to a school nearer to the place of safety. Again, I understand the logistical constraints, but I hope we can allow a child to remain in his or her school after they have been sent to a place of safety. I cannot imagine how difficult it must be for Ellie to go to a new primary school, try to make new friends, maybe even answer questions by her classmate on why she is there, and I hope not, but maybe even laughed at. I hope the MSF will consider this recommendation positively. Next, intergenerational patterns of incarceration is a recognized phenomenon. Breaking this vicious cycle has been included as a goal in many efforts to support inmates and ex-offenders in Singapore. For example, addressing the intergenerational offending cycle is a key objective of family resource centres which support inmates' families. The pattern of incarceration can start at an early age. Whilst children's homes are intended to be safe places for the protection of vulnerable children, the roots of intergenerational incarceration may also begin here. We will not know until we have studied this problem. Can the Ministry share if it collects data on how many children who enter a place of safety later enter a boys' or girls' home, and later on even prisons? I started my speech. So I started my speech with Ellie's story, and I wish to end this part of the speech with her story too. In putting Ellie in a place of safety, we took her away from her home, her siblings, and everything that she was used to. We put her in a dormitory and expect her to be rehabilitated in the process and helped in the process. Do we know whether doing this will lead to better outcomes for the children? I have seen how Ellie has changed from her time at the place of safety, and it breaks my heart. And I know this has not worked for her brother. While in a place of safety, he was caught housebreaking and was sent to a boys' home. I urge the Ministry to track and study the effectiveness of our place of safety. We need data to measure the effectiveness of our program and ensure that our policies work, and work well. We need to provide more help to the VWOs who run our places of safety. Lastly, the new Section 68A allows persons in charge of homes for children and young persons to use mechanical restraints, such as handcuffs. I understand that this is intended to prevent children in the homes from escaping custody or inflicting bodily injury on themselves. This, though, seems incompatible with our shift to a more rehabilitative approach. I understand that there might be circumstances where there is a genuine need to physically restrain the children. Our children's homes are already staffed by auxiliary officers. They are in a better position to step in if necessary. There should be a clear distinction between the roles of the staff and auxiliary officers. Staff of the children's home should be nurturing figures who are there to protect, not restrain the children. Imagine the psychological effect on the child to see the staff using handcuffs on them and their friends. Can we maintain this separation by increasing the number of auxiliary officers if necessary, so that the staff, the MSF staff, do not have to take on this role? So it's often said that our children are our hope for the future. Children who are placed in place of safety because of circumstances beyond their control have the same potential as any other child and are no less deserving of care and attention. Let's make sure that we give them the safe environment to break free of their unfortunate circumstances and to grow into their full potential. Let's make sure we help the children and also improve support and resources to the VWOs running our places of safety. Notwithstanding the above queries and recommendations, I stand in support of this bill.